Hello, hello. Welcome to the CTS. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to follow us on social media, our Facebook page, The Chris Truby Show, or on Twitter, @Truby Show. And as always, I'm joined here today by the one and only Fierro. What's up, dude?
Oh, shit. Okay, no, wait, no.
That's your cue to come in.
Yeah, my bad. It wasn't recording. I forgot. It's midnight. We're going to have to do that one more time.
As always, I'm joined here by the one and only Fierro. What's up, dude?
What's going on, fellas? I'm tired. Tired of bullshit. God,
as are us all.
I'm tired of stuff and things, and I have opinions, and I'm going to say them. And that's what we're going to talk about.
Yes, it is. And also our main man on the street, Gopher Mike. What's happening out there, bro?
Super excited to hear about what Fierro has on his mind. He sounds fired up.
You would be wrong. That's all the energy I had right there.
Oh. Oh my God. So I was watching this show on Vice just the other day, and I love watching Vice programming. I'm kind of addicted to it. But there was a show I was watching about a dude who married his sex doll. This is no lie. There's this guy in Kazakhstan, this bodybuilder, right? And he said he'd been dating a sex doll for about a year before they officially tied the knot. Like, I guess it's legal over there, right? Like, the doll's name is Margot, and she has the ability to speak these really creepy, simple sentences, and she can actually hear people, and she has her own freaking social media page where there's like risque pictures of her as a doll and things.
What?
It's crazy.
And it has a following?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
So this guy went on the internet, bought one of them real fancy sex dolls.
Well, no, he didn't buy it, right? So the story goes, he didn't buy the damn thing. It was in a bar that he went to. It was like a robotic kind of interactive robot doll, you know?
Was this the bar's community doll?
Yeah. People would take pictures with it and everything. And he just said, I fell in love with her right away. And he asked the bar if he could have her.
What?
Right.
Yeah, that's different. This
Isn't
was
that
a whole
fucking
show
crazy?
on this you watched?
Yeah, this is a show I watched.
How many minutes of
It's called I forget the name of it now. I couldn't tell you what the name of the show is on a bet. But it was on that show. It was weird. The guy's name is Yuri Tolchko. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. Tolchko. Yuri Tolchko. Sorry. And you can see pictures of him and the doll and these, like, in the bathtub, and there's one where she's got pizza slices on her. It's just bizarre.
Now, do you think he's serious, or is he just putting on a shtick?
No, he's serious.
Oh, gosh.
He says it's real.
Dude, we have Channel 4 here in the UK that always plays like weird-ass documentaries, and I always watch them.
Right.
Dude, I've seen documentaries about hookers, sex dolls, fucking people with weird fetishes, all this kind of weird shit, dude. Sex dolls are like a thing. People will spend 60 to 100 plus more grand on these insane, realistic-looking sex dolls. They'll marry them. They'll have, multiple. And, I mean, I don't quite understand it because, they don't do anything.
Yeah.
Maybe not in our lifetime, but in our kids' lifetime, dude. Think about it.
Yeah.
Is this what the internet's done to people?
I don't know.
Dude.
I don't know.
How many dudes just want to have sex and don't want to put up with all the other shit? So what's going to happen when, sex dolls become like extremely animal and can like talk back and shit like that? So you get like that one, but they're slaves. They're robotic slaves that you use for sex. Yeah. And I'm sorry, dude. I've met too many dudes that would be perfectly happy with a sex doll.
Isn't that like Westworld? That show, is that what it is?
Yeah.
I've never seen
that screams Skynet to me.
Right. Skynet. Yeah, that's another danger. What if they get pissed off at us? Like, if it's a bad breakup, what are you going to do? Like,
how do you break up with a sex doll?
You morph into T-1000 and fucking nail your house, man.
You
I
just
think you
turn it
break
off.
up with a factory reset.
Factory
Oh my
reset.
God.
Start over.
Oh my God.
No, dude,
But it's just
they
insane.
can make
And
them
if-
so
yeah.
realistic. They can make them look like celebrities and shit. I mean, how many people would pay 60 to 100 grand to have Scarlett Johansson all day, every day?
Yeah.
She don't make
That's-
sandwiches, but you're like, sex, baby. She's like,
Fucking
yes,
gross.
daddy. Yes.
That's fucking gross,
Dude.
man.
I mean,
No.
Chris, I know you're older than us. Me and
Right.
Mike are around the same age. So I'm just going to take us all back about 20 years. Dial up those big, giant ass floppy disks. What the hell was a flat screen TV? We had those big, giant ass
Right.
fucking I'm cussing. We had those 300-pound giant tube TVs and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
And look at where we're at now. Dude, I rode a Tesla from San Diego to LA
Mhm.
to go to LAX when I was back in the States. And the car drove itself. Like there was a dude behind the driver's seat, but we talked the whole time. He never put his hand on the steering wheel. It took us all the way on the freeway through traffic at LAX, found a parking space, and dropped me off with that dude ever touching. That's where we're headed. So I could totally see, sex dolls becoming like a feasible thing where they're like Terminator style. I mean, obviously,
Right.
they're not going to go all Arnold on you, but
No, I
That's
think
what
they
you
will.
think.
well,
That's what I mean. That's the thing. Like
who
you
knows?
said, you rode
Hopefully
in this
we're
car.
dead.
You said you rode in this car that was, never gonna be driven. Like it was never touched. If it's on the robot radar and it gets the signal that, hey, now's the time, we're destroying all humans. How the hell are you gonna know it ain't gonna be a suicide mission off a bridge for you?
Dude, I just think it's going to be awesome when I can just get in the car and get like an extra hour of sleep on the way to work.
No.
I know so many people that need that car, and the roads will be so much safer.
Right?
Yeah.
Until,
So-
Skynet kills us all.
Right, exactly. So this guy that married this doll
Oh yeah. Back to
in
him.
Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
He yeah, sorry. I've been dwelling on this.
Right.
This was obviously a court proceeding. He had to go through a hearing in front of some sort of something
Yeah.
to get
yeah.
this approved, or
Yeah.
is this like a backyard marriage?
No, yeah, no. So it's totally legitimate. He went in, and this is what he had to. He had to like register and do all of these things to have her declared like a person. And over there, this is where it gets kind of screwed up a little bit, because like in Kazakhstan law, you can't get married to someone under the age of 18, and there was the question of when she was made. Do you know?
What's her
But it didn't
manufactured
get
date?
right. But then they determined that, well, I mean, it's not a person, it's just a thing, and he's not hurting anybody. So they let him have it.
That okay.
Yeah. Just crazy. I mean, they were like, well, we can't prove she's not under 18. So, yeah, there you go. There's your loophole.
I wonder if this dude shows up to like his family's holiday.
Oh, yeah.
meals.
Yep. Yeah. He takes her everywhere. He takes her back to the bar that she used to work in. He takes her on walks. They go on frickin' vacations together. It's insane. It's just insane.
So for season 2 of this show, I wonder if they're gonna decide to have a kid. And
I don't know.
are they gonna manufacture a little robot baby? Or is this guy gonna go
No.
back to court and try and
I don't know if
adopt an
there's going
actual
to be
child?
a season 2. This was just like a news episode on Vice that I saw. It wasn't like a whole series. This was just a news episode. There's this guy who really did this.
But this guy
But
sounds
I'll
like
tell
a
ya.
money pit. There's gonna be a season
Oh,
2.
yeah. Well, maybe there should be a season 2. I'm all for it. Netflix, get on it. Anyways, as much as I'd like to talk about the dude with the hot robot wife, I think it's time to. I'm going to go back one because he's a good-looking dude.
Apparently the robot is too. Or know what you just said.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, I want to go into the mailbag real quick. I want to read some feedback, and we'll start with just a couple of short ones here. The Merciless wrote into us and said, looking forward to the education episode. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you very much, The Merciless. No word on whether that guy's first name is Ming, but we appreciate your comment, and we need to catch up, and you need to catch up. We did education last week. Hopefully you're all caught up by now, and thank you for listening.
Good
Mr.
episode.
Drunkle, well, yes, it was a good episode. Mr. Drunkle says, I just finished the first episode. I thought you guys did a great job, and I look forward to catching up with the other episodes. As an employee of a local public school, I'm looking forward to hearing your perspective on what's happening and what has happened to the public education system. Well, first of all, thank you. It must be tough being a teacher with a name like Mr. Drunkle. I'm sure the kids didn't make fun of your name behind your back or anything. It's great to hear how CTS connects people and allows us to share some of our more common threads instead of highlighting the seeds of division, which, I guess that's kind of what we're going to talk about today.
I had a Mr. Drunkle in school.
You had a Mr. Drunkle?
Yeah, but for a different reason.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. They're just making fun of your name. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, we appreciate you, Mr. Drunkle. Keep up the good fight because we're in your corner. All right, pal? And I think that's as good a segue as any. We had a couple of topics that we wanted to cover today with all that's been going on. And I think it's important that we have a grounded conversation about things that maybe aren't so grounded from time to time. One thing about modern society, to me, and you guys agree with me or disagree with me, but it seems like there's no shortage on anger.
Oh, definitely. I definitely agree there.
It's perfectly fine to be angry. Everybody's angry from time to time, but
I'm angry all the time.
You're angry all the time?
All the time.
So is the Incredible Hulk, man.
That's what I was just thinking.
Right. No, and I get it. Look, there's a lot to be angry about, right?
Yes.
Unfortunately, when you mix anger with a situation where anger feels like it has to react, or you prolong this feeling of anger through constantly exposing yourself to these ideas and situations that are only designed to amplify that anger, well, that's usually when trouble starts. And unfortunately, there are people who seek to take advantage of that anger by appealing to your most basic core values. It's a situation like what we have now, where QAnon has popped up out and taken center stage on national discourse. And I've said it before, I liked these guys better when they were hunting Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster. But this is actually a perfect example of how anyone can sow the seeds of hate by taking advantage of human emotion. It's just basic manipulation. Did I lose you?
Okay. Nope. I didn't know. I thought you were just taking a drink. Sorry.
No.
QAnon definitely has taken advantage of everybody, and in the worst way. I'm trying to think of the best way I want to describe them, but I guess cult is they've grown into almost a cult following over the years since QAnon started.
Yeah. Well, let's not mince words, right? QAnon is a far-right conspiracy group, and they were one of many who were responsible for the incidents on January 6th, along with, other groups like the Proud Boys or the Keepers of the Oath. And the QAnon belief system actually believes that the former President Donald Trump had been planning a day of reckoning, which was known as, I guess, the Storm. I don't know.
Yes.
For legitimate, I don't know that much about what this whole group is. I'm far more concentrated on other ones, but basically they said this storm would be like a bunch of political figures getting arrested on the same day.
Well, the funny thing with it is they make a lot of statements with precise dates of when things are going to happen.
Right. Okay.
Political figures getting arrested, and this all takes place on 8chan now, originally started on 4chan with Q drops, to where QAnon is the person who actually is the person dropping these Q drops. It's Q. So he'll go on there and say, well, Hillary Rodham Clinton this, or this person's going to get arrested that day. And it never happens. And he'll go back on and he follows that up with, oh, that's just all part of the plan. That was part of it. This is fake information we're feeding. So the real plan isn't unveiled because the storm, as you mentioned, is coming.
You remember that cult a long time ago that said the world was going to end? And then they kept changing the date?
That wasn't Heaven's Gate.
I don't remember their name,
I
but
can't remember the exact name.
they were
but
like,
yes.
the world's going to end on this date.
Right.
And then the world's going to end on this date.
Yeah.
And then every time that date passed, they changed the date.
Mm-hmm.
QAnon is doing the same thing.
Yes.
January
Yeah,
6th
it's a
is not going
hustle.
to be. Now we have to wait till March 4th. And I was like, what the hell's March 4th? And they're like, oh, because 75 years ago, the president used to be inaugurated on the 4th. And I was like, and they changed the date. So here's what's going to happen on March 4th. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah.
Nothing. So what date comes after March 4th? I don't know, but they're going to make something else up.
March
Well,
5th. And that's basically the premise of the whole thing since it's began, since the first Q drop on 4chan. And I don't think there's been any of recent. I mean, leading up to the election there was, but since the election and Biden getting elected, which they said wasn't going to happen, it's kind of
Right. Oh,
the dangerous part of it is how, I mean, they played into people's emotions because they tied it into so many other different conspiracy theories, such as Pizzagate and pedophilia rings. And so people latch onto that because obviously it's terrible. And then they're already pulling at the heartstrings. And then the craziest part is they pretend to be a Q level clearance person in the government, which is a very high level of clearance, but it's for some crazy department. I can't remember what it is.
yeah.
But they pretend to be bumping shoulders with former president, now Trump. And then this person will just make up this bullshit in the Q drop, and it'll be like President Trump's going to acknowledge his following of QAnon in a statement coming up, and he'll say, and they'll just give some random statement, which this is one that actually happened. I can't remember the statement it was. They said it was going to come up in the presidential address. It didn't, but it came up at the Easter egg roll. He said this word, which was just an obscure word, while he was standing with the Easter bunny, then which they tied in with following the white rabbit, which was another QAnon Q drop. So, I mean, this is just manipulating the hell out of people.
Yeah. Well, and it's like I said, I think I kind of described it best earlier. It's unfortunate there are people who seek to take advantage of people's everyday anger by appealing to the most basic core values.
Yep. And they're probably turning profit off of it as well.
Oh, I'm sure.
One of the main people who is suspected of being Q now is the person who now owns 8chan, which is the platform which carries QAnon. So, and it's all a roundabout way of just weird control and giant troll.
So basically, 8chan is just this dude or this Q group, right? You're telling me that's all 8chan is for anymore?
8chan's for a lot of things, but they run through a political section on 8chan or conspiracy section.
Got it.
Which that's another thing that people rebut against QAnon for, is they're very opposed to let's say the Democrats being pedophiles and all that conspiracy.
Yeah.
The Pizzagate stuff, how the Democratic Party does all this crazy stuff. But 8chan is also a huge pedophile platform. So they're very contradictory to themselves as well, which nobody seems to focus on.
God dang. It's always some dirty bullshit somewhere.
Yeah, it gets crazy. The farther you dive into QAnon, the more you're just like, wait, people believe this?
Right? How do you believe that stuff?
Yeah.
But, Scientology. I'm not comparing Scientology to QAnon. I'm just saying Scientology started from a dude that had a social security number and a mortgage and bills.
Mm-hmm.
Like, at least with normal religion, nobody knew God or Jesus. Those were stories from a long time ago that we can't, prove or dispute. But, Scientology, that dude had a townhouse and wrote books.
A science fiction author.
Yeah.
And then people believe that.
L. Ron Hubbard.
And I'm trying to think of the craziest thing I ever believed in. to see, if I could fall prey to some weird conspiracy theory. And I'm like, dude, I used to believe Santa Claus was real. I mean, that's
and don't get me wrong, I love conspiracy theories. They are entertaining to all get out. Just how off the rocker they can get,
Sure.
flat earthers. Oh, I love the flat earthers.
Oh my goodness, the flat earthers. Yeah,
the Earth is flat.
It's quite comical, reading into QAnon and listening to some other podcasts on it, and just the more research I did on it, it's like the best Tom Clancy novel that you could probably put together. Not necessarily Tom Clancy. I know he was a military type author, but it's just Stephen King. There we go.
I don't like the ideals of the alt-right or the alt-left. So the extremists on both sides, but I don't hate those people. I feel bad because I feel they're just misinformed. I've read numerous stories of past QAnon supporters that are now anti-Trumpers. Like a lot of them, their world fell apart, on January 6th when nothing happened.
Oh yeah.
And it's just these people. I feel I don't want to disrespect, what they believe in, but what they believe in, it just doesn't make any sense. It's not grounded in reality. They have no facts. Dude, I love debating anybody on any topic. I love people that disagree with me. I love talking to people that disagree with me. I love seeing how they view problems and situations and their solutions and all this stuff. But usually when I debate people like that, they also have some sort of supporting facts to back up what they're telling me. These, alt-left and alt-right people are 100% of the affirmation that they are correct and everything they say is right without any proof or anything to back it up. And I can't engage with those people because how do you debate someone that doesn't deal in actualities, doesn't deal in facts? They just deal in, Timmy heard from Jim Bob who said that Mike said this. And I'm like, how do I debate that? How do I combat that?
Well, it's even worse than that, Fierro, especially with the QAnon thing. They're not even pulling their facts from a person with a name, like you said, Jimmy Bob or Mike or whatever. They're pulling their fact. They're following an anonymous person. That's why the Anon and QAnon stands for anonymous. On those boards, everything is posted as anonymous. So I could go on there and post something. My name will be anonymous. That's what it literally says. So they don't even know if this is a person, a group, multiple people. They're just blindly following the letter Q.
I do want to know if the actual person or group who is Q, do they believe this or are they just having a laugh? Are they just like the ultimate internet trolls?
I don't, that's a really good question. Yeah, I would have to assume that it tracks both. You would have to. I mean, it's just too good an opportunity to pass up for a lot of people who, live in this post-apocalyptic, dystopic frickin', some of this is born from that type of anarchical thinking, Some people are tired of being told that they're not politically correct. They have every right to be pissed off as the other guy, as the next guy, as the third guy. I don't know.
Dude, what everyone always says, the good times, and they're referring to like the 60s and 70s when, slavery and all that was over, racism, it was there, but it was a little bit less. It was a little bit because there was no internet. So sure. I just want to know, pre-internet, were there this many crazy people and they just didn't have a platform and now they do? It seems like it's everywhere, or...
I don't think we've had less crazy people. I just think we have fewer, better educated people. I think that the public education system, as we talked about last week, has been put up a ton of roadblocks in front of it, especially when you consider, how state governments and city councils like to redistrict and draw everything, how they like to keep moving and shifting things so that you can't really get a clean look at the books either way, A lot of that just seems very shifty to me. very, very shifty.
Well, I also look at it like this. Mike believes in genies. Chris believes in, the pedophile ring. I believe in leprechauns. We're 1970, 1960. What are the chances any of us meet each other? Say we all believe, leprechauns are real. What are the chances any of us meet each other? Really slim, right? So we go in our life, in our normal neighborhood, where eventually when nobody else believes in leprechauns, we're like, okay, maybe they don't exist. No one else really believes in it. Now we're at a stage where I believe in leprechauns. You two believe in leprechauns. We meet on a message board with 20 other people that believe in leprechauns. And now, damn it, leprechauns are real.
Yeah.
So I think the internet just brought conspiracy theorist people together to, like I said, these people don't really believe in facts. So if they find a bunch of other people that believe what they do, they find a group, find more people, find more people, find more people. And eventually, you have 1 million people believing in leprechauns.
And that's the funny thing. It amazes me that a bunch of people on the internet who do nothing but their own research into these crackpot conspiracy theories couldn't solve the one staring them right in the face. And maybe it does come down to facts, like you said.
Well, it's the fact that if you want to believe something, you will research the hell out of whatever you want until you find proof. And that's what it is. They pander to the weak-minded, maybe weak-willed. And if you get one person to latch on, the chances, it's almost like a pyramid scheme. You get one person to latch on, they get 2 people to latch on. Each of those people gets 2 people to latch on. Next thing you know, you have a following. And it starts with the people that are easily susceptible to that kind of stuff. And you just, you can manipulate almost anything you want into whatever you want to make somebody believe something.
I think that's the issue.
Mm-hmm.
Belief.
And yes.
Faith. These are systems that don't require fact. I am more than religious people. I'm not anti-religion at all. But religion is based off belief without fact. I can't prove to someone that believes in God that he doesn't exist, and they can't prove to me that he does exist. But they believe that he's real. And religion, hell, half America is religious. I think atheism's like 30%. It's growing. But, Catholicism, Hinduism, Muslims, all these people believe in their own deity without proof. So I guess it's not that hard for me to believe that people believe in this, QAnon stuff. Because a lot of people, not to the extent, pedophile rings and all that, but they believe in something without proof. So I think it's a human trait to be able to believe something without proof because your belief is that strong.
And the dangerous thing comes is when people start believing in something like QAnon, who will attack people personally. And I mean, this extended out into Hollywood, all that. I mean, they made direct claims on a lot of people out there saying they're going to get arrested and all this stuff. And I mean, that's got to be detrimental to their livelihoods.
I think there's also loose connections because, they believe this pedophile ring or whatever exists. And then what happens? Jeffrey Epstein gets popped.
Mm-hmm. And then that's when they took that and ran.
Oh, yeah.
And he ran an actual sex ring, and there were actually underage girls. Harvey Weinstein's creepy ass.
Yeah.
So
Big,
if you have
stories.
like real examples, they will pick on these real stories and they will extrapolate it to the entirety of Hollywood. Obviously, if, a couple elite Hollywood people were in on this, that means they're all in on it.
Yep.
It's the whole, some men are bad, all men are bad. Or some women are bad, all women are bad. People, they just don't think rationally in these situations.
No, they took somebody who's an actual monster and they use them as a chess piece to attack everybody else instead of focusing in on the person who was the monster, which is kind of bad, using that to manipulate so many people. That's just disgusting to me.
Well, I guess the only thing that could fix this really is time and education, and we seem to be running out of both. While QAnon is an interesting response to fear through manipulation, there's another side to all of this, which I think is feeding the flames just as well. Not only of QAnon, but of other militant groups in alignment with an extremist far-right philosophy that the world has gone to hell in a handbasket. And it's just my opinion, but when you take this next topic into account, it's easy to see why this is exactly the sort of thing that lends the smallest sliver of credibility to an argument, often used as a prop to defend one's beliefs and actions. And I'm talking about cancel culture.
I've been canceled a bunch. He got canceled on air.
Yeah, I'm going to get canceled on air.
Cancel culture sucks, dude.
It does.
It's weird. Some people deserve to be canceled. Like we mentioned before, Jeffrey Epstein, who's the Weinstein, Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
But the problem is there's no separation of crime anymore.
Yeah.
Freedom of speech has never meant, freedom of consequences. Freedom of speech means that you can say what you want and you deal with the repercussions. But cancel culture's taken on some crazy form of you do anything wrong that, one side doesn't believe in, you're gone and that's it.
Yeah.
Recently it happened to Gina Carano. I don't know if I'm saying her name right, but she was
Mandalorian.
an actress.
Oh,
on The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
She said some borderline racist stuff and immediately lost her job because of it.
Yeah.
I think I don't agree with what she said, but I agree with her freedom to say it. And I don't think the punishment she got, of losing her job and everything is equal to what she did. Like she used a poor example. She said basically, the Nazis didn't start by beating the Jews. Their neighbors beat them and turned them in and stuff. And she compared that to Republicans, how they're being treated now. Like if you have a conservative viewpoint, she didn't say anything bad about Jews. She didn't say anything bad about anyone. She used a stupid example that she shouldn't have used. And you know what? She should have got hate for it, and then that was it. But what happened? Leftist snowflakes got a hold of it and shut her down, which happens all too often.
Well,
yes.
What drives me nuts about this whole thing, though, and I'm gonna wrap up everybody who's been caught up in this, whether they deserved it or not. I don't know, but the way people are, there's like a group of people now sitting in their basement somewhere, going through famous people's Twitters and just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and screenshotting anything that can be mildly offensive and attacking them on it. I mean, a lot of these things I see, they're going back to 2013, whatever it may be, when this person was 20 years old. Not that age is an excuse for anything being said, but this could be 10 years ago. This person said something, did something, and here they are all these years later, 10 years of life, 10 years of perspective change, 10 years of learning, 10 years of growth in a successful job, and then it's all gone because somebody went back through their social media.
Yeah.
And
but it's a very real thing.
It's just weird.
Human resources departments do it all the time anymore. They just do.
Well, if you think about it, I mean, something we say now might not be proper to say 10 years from now.
Sure.
It seems, you're picking on someone. You said 10 years. I've seen people try to cancel something for something they said 20, 30 years ago. Different time. Different things were acceptable. Like, what they said didn't cross the line then. And it may cross the line now, but it's like people don't care. They don't take any of that into consideration. They just say, oh, he said that. I don't care how long ago it was. Cancel him.
I was just going to say, that'd be like if Richard Pryor was still alive, rest in peace, going back and listening to his comedy and getting offended to it all these years later. And going after him for it.
Blazing Saddles. Everyone seen that?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Do you think that movie gets made today?
No.
Hell no.
No.
Not a chance.
There's a lot of stuff that wouldn't get made today. There's a lot of stuff I
Yeah.
watch. And
Dude.
you're just like, what?
Whatever happened to being offended
Can I
and
answer
moving
that?
on? If something bothers you, 20, yeah, go for it.
You really want me to answer that? I'll answer that
Yeah,
for you.
let's answer it.
I'm going to give you an answer that's going to blow your mind. And I never thought about it until I can't remember where I heard it. So all credit due to whoever said it, and I just can't remember. It was explained to me that cancel culture may have been created out of this prior culture of protecting our kids and specifically from bullying and things of that nature. And I'll use bullying as the best example I can, because that was the one that was a real big rally cry, going even as far back as when I was still in school. It was really starting to gain steam, and we introduced the zero tolerance policy for that. It was a one strike and you're out deal. Now, think about it from this perspective. That one strike and you're out deal has now informed and shaped these young people ideas about what justice is and how it should be dealt. And when they got to the real world and they found out things didn't work that way, they tried to force it to work with the way they're familiar with. The bottom line is we've essentially created more bullies out of a generational practice to try to curb bad behavior. I mean, if that isn't irony, I don't know what is.
What you're saying is the adults now are the first generation of those kids that we started that zero tolerance guideline with.
Yes.
That's interesting.
It makes total sense.
Uh-huh.
It does make total sense, doesn't it?
Which makes me sad.
Yeah.
So this is a self-created problem.
Well, what also came along with zero tolerance? Participation trophies. Everyone has to be a winner. You can't offend anyone.
Correct.
And see, now I'm feeling old.
Well, see, there's the thing, right? And this is always the problem when you have a generational gap like that. The problem with cancel culture is it's a one-size-fits-all judgment that stops the conversation and completely ignores concepts like forgiveness and redemption, which I would argue are both essential to the human condition. But that's just me.
No, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's sad that I guess we're in this situation. I remember, I used to always hear that, America loves a redemption story. Well, we're not giving anyone the opportunity to redeem themselves anymore.
Right.
In the justice system, you get different punishments for murder than you do from petty larceny.
Right.
From jaywalking to, doing 100 miles an hour through a school zone.
Yep.
But, like Chris just said, cancel culture is, it doesn't matter what you do. Weinstein, Cosby, raped women. They lost everything, went to jail. 100% deserve it. And I'm not trying to defend anyone's actions, but I'm saying Louis C.K. masturbated on the telephone. Dude, that's creepy as hell. And he also lost everything.
Yep.
I felt he should have been punished. That dude did some creepy stuff, right?
Sure.
But how is that the same as what, Weinstein did or Cosby did?
It isn't.
Epstein.
No.
But, we treat it all the same.
We do. And it's, I've said it's a one-size-fits-all judgment. Here's how I would describe it, right? If there was only one punishment for all crime, it wouldn't be any more or less of a deterrent. I think that's what we're really trying to say here. Even if that punishment was death, it wouldn't stop people from doing outrageous and horrific things.
No, it wouldn't.
Look at the Code of Hammurabi. Didn't stop people from committing crimes.
Yeah.
And that was literally 386 laws etched into a stone obelisk. Give me a break.
Yeah. I guess it's just going to make things... Where's it going to take us down the road if we keep up with cancel culture? Are we
Well,
Is everybody just gonna not look at each other, not talk to each other?
right.
I will just say that cancel culture seems to be quite uniquely an American thing.
Yeah.
It's somewhat over here in the UK, but nowhere near as it is, back in the States. And since I moved to the UK, I've met people that live, more Nordic countries, Germany, stuff like that. They have a hard time understanding cancel culture because that's not a thing for them.
Right.
So, like Chris said, it could be bore from zero tolerance, which other countries and cultures don't have.
Correct.
So
I also think it's born out of narcissism. Everybody wants to be the next person to crucify the next bad person. So I wonder if that kind of answers my question from earlier. If the people searching through the people's social media, is everybody just out there to find the next person to cancel so they can say, oh, look what I pinned on this asshole.
Well, I'm
dude,
sure
like I
there's
said,
an industry for it.
Yeah, it's an American thing. Look at our criminal justice system. It's terrible. As an educator, dude, I love Finland. I know that's weird to say. No, I don't want to move to Finland. They have high taxes.
Starting to question. This isn't the first time you've mentioned Finland.
Their education system is top notch.
Yes.
Less work, less homework, greater pay. But beyond that, their prison system is amazing. Their prison system is based off rehabilitation instead of punishment.
Yeah.
And I can link you some documentary. There's a video you should watch. It's amazing that explains their system. Their system is so good that when they changed...
I have studied upon that myself.
Yeah. When they changed from an American prison system, how everyone's locked up, to the rehabilitation system they have now, they now have a problem where they have so few prisoners that they have to take in prisoners from other countries. And they've had to close down prisons. Their crime is way down.
Oh, America doesn't have a prison system. We have a corporation that turns human bodies into profit now. But that's a whole different topic.
Yeah. And I don't want to get too big on, the prison system because, like I said, that's something we could talk about later. But what I mean is the American culture system is, dude, it's just out of whack. I mean, it's an unpopular statement that some aren't going to agree for, but there's that one, I think the newsroom is like is it a series or something? And they have the one actor and they ask him, is America the greatest country in the world?
Yeah,
and,
I've seen that clip.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Jeff
only
Daniels.
things that we lead the world in are incarcerated people per capita, military spending, and the number of people that believe angels are real. And, I thought that was a show, so I'm like, oh, okay, I'll go look it up. And he's true. Those three things we lead the world in. We lock more people up. We spend more than the next 26, 27 countries combined in military spending. And we have the largest population that is religious. Yeah. That's it. We're doing terrible in education. Yeah, we're doing terrible in healthcare. Dude, since I've lived here, I've been telling my wife, I think America has one of the greatest healthcare systems in the world if you're rich.
Yeah.
If you're not rich, our health coverage system is garbage. Our American culture just doesn't look out for anybody anymore. It's all about you. So since we have a super hyperized individualistic culture, when it's all about you, when you're offended, you find other people who are offended, and then you cancel who offended you.
Yeah, that's it.
These other countries, UK, Nordic countries, the EU, they also have individualistic cultures. We're not like Japan that's all about the group instead of the individual. But over here, it's more, hey, take care of yourself, but don't forget to take care of your neighbor. And America used to be like that.
Yeah.
But now it's, I'm going to take care of myself. My neighbor can take care of their self. And if they do anything that pisses me off, I'm going after them.
Yeah,
and
that's sad.
And that's the atmosphere we find ourselves in. Mike, you just moved. Have you met your neighbors yet?
Oh, have I?
Well, I mean, have they came over you, welcome you to the neighborhood? That used to be a common thing.
Here, you want to hear a little story? I guess this will back up what your point was just here.
Sure.
You know how I met my neighbor? As I was unloading a car full of boxes in the cold, my neighbor came out and said, "Hey, are you currently moving in?" As I'm holding the box. And I said, "Yes." "Well, let me tell you about the rules. You see, this is my parking spot." That's how I met my neighbor. So I guess there you go. We only care about ourselves. You know, no offering a hand. They came out to tell me about the rules. You know, so
Yeah, what better time? You're such a captive audience.
That's just where we are now.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when I was young, we moved into a new neighborhood. This is, how old was I? 6. So this would have been almost 30 years ago, 28 years ago.
ew, you're old.
Right? I'm 30. I'm 35 now. Yeah, about 28 years ago. Dude, we moved in. Our neighbors saw us moving in. They came out. "Hey, do you want some help? Welcome to the neighborhood. Y'all are moving in. Why don't you come over and have dinner with us?" When I moved to Texas, when I was on my own, I moved into an apartment. Neighbors came out, saw I was moving in, said, "Hey, you need any help?" They helped. I bought them some beers. We had some laughs. That's how I met my neighbors. That doesn't happen anymore.
No,
we just proved that. There's 10 years ago versus 3 weeks ago.
We used to care about other people, and now we don't.
Nope,
And
not at all.
And like I said, that's an American problem. I'm sure some other countries do. But, when I moved here to the UK, my wife was already established in the neighborhood, and I moved in with her. Other people said, "Hey, we noticed you moved in." Had barbecues. They came over, said hello, talked to me, and now I know most of the neighbors, except one. They're kind of a D-head, but...
They tell you about the rules?
They didn't tell me about the rules. But what I mean is, not... individualism has gripped America way more than it ever has before. So I guess cancel culture shouldn't be that surprising, because when it used to be about us and now it's about you, anything that offends you, you go after.
Yeah, you protect your own little perfect world that you create.
Yeah, and that's where we're at. And, it's sad.
it is sad.
Yeah, we've all created our own utopia.
Well, if you remember, I said at the top of the episode, this was our dystopic future. Well, thanks, guys. Now I'm depressed.
Right?
Hey,
Good grief.
it's not all bad, man. Some things are looking up.
Maybe we should have canceled this.
Yeah, we should have canceled ourselves, yeah. So, what were you saying, Fiero?
Well, it's people. Some people are out there still fighting for the other people. I
Sure.
know this. I'll say this, and I'll have conservatives hate me. But I like Bernie Sanders and AOC.
Yeah.
I don't agree with their policies, but not once have I questioned their integrity and caring about their constituents. The
Right.
point in case, Texas. I have family in Texas. I come from Texas. Texas is doing terrible.
Mm.
Their energy system wasn't connected to the federal system because Texas. It's all they want to be individual. And for a lot of things, hey, they do it right. But in this case, people left without power, sub-freezing temperatures, pipes were bursting, everything. And you have people like Ted Cruz who goes to Mexico for vacation.
Yeah.
And then you have people like AOC who is a representative of New York. Within 24 hours, she raises $2 million and she's flying down to Texas to work at a food shelter. And this is not, I'm not taking sides Republican or Democrat, because I'm sure there's other Republicans that they have that mindset where they care about others. But if you think about it, why is our government system the way it is? Because we're supposed to elect these people to represent and work for the people. But we elect these people who then immediately only care about kickbacks and getting reelected and what looks good for them. Because, dude, I'm sorry, you can't tell me that on party lines, all the Democrats say, what Trump said before the riot was bad, and all the Republicans. No, dude, the Republicans don't want to speak out against Trump because they know what happens. I mean, look at the ones that voted to impeach him. They got death threats, and their own party censured him, told them they'll never get reelected.
Yeah.
what happened to caring about people, man? And that's why, as much as I don't agree with AOC and Bernie's policies all the time, I agree with their character.
Yeah.
Bernie is like Chris, if he was in Congress. Bernie's been saying the same crazy crackpot stuff ever since he's been elected.
Did you just call Chris a crazy crackpot?
Well, what I'm saying is the same stuff that he's saying now, he said 30 years ago.
Yeah, he stayed true to his beliefs. Yep.
And again, I don't want to turn this into a political show or whatever. I decided I don't want to turn it into a prison show, but it comes back to cancel culture, man. It's just, when did it become uncool to care about other people? When did it become weak to care about other people?
I'll tell you when, and it involves a conspiracy theory. Let's bring this back on a high note. It's back in 2012, the world did end, folks. and the Mandela effect happened. And we're all stuck in a glitching matrix. No, I'm just messing with everybody. I just wanted to lighten it up a little bit.
World's flat, baby.
Oh,
which that's a real conspiracy theory. If you guys want to look into it, have fun. It's another good one.
Are we going to do a flat Earth episode?
I think we should do a whole conspiracy theory series.
Where do we find flat Earthers?
The CTS Conspiracy Files. Yeah.
Dude, there's like 17 of them in the NBA. There's
That's
flat
true.
Earthers everywhere.
NBA does love it.
I do. I do.
It's just, like I said, I don't want this to be a negative episode, because
sure, and I don't
all we
either,
were talking about really is what's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, what do we do to fix it?
Yeah, and I think that's the most optimistic way to look at it.
I mean,
what do we do to fix it?
I've always said education.
Yeah.
And I guess some people said, oh, well, what's education do? What's math, science, and English going to do? That's not really what I mean by education.
Right.
I mean, I do. But
sure.
I think the main thing that education needs to teach students now is how to think for yourself. Do your own research. Don't take, the first Fox News story or the first CNN news story you see as gospel. Because I watch Fox News.
Use a little common sense.
Yeah. So we need to teach people how to dig deeper, how to research, how to not believe. If I tell students, hey, don't believe what I'm saying, and they immediately start questioning me, good. Unless they're trying to be a smart aleck, and then I'm like, sit down, shut up.
Isn't it crazy that we live in a day and time where we have the biggest access to any research that we could possibly need? I mean, when me and you, Fiero, when we were younger, you had to read the Encyclopedia Britannica. Same for Chris. I mean, he had to look through scrolls. But nowadays, you carry a computer around in your pocket, and we have the most misinformed people out of any era, probably.
Yeah.
I think that's why.
Well, it's not really about global information, is it? It's about what Sally did with Joni last night.
Well, that's part of the problem, too. Everybody needs to know everybody's business.
That's all we're using technology for, is to snoop on people. And
I'll just hark back to the last episode when we mentioned that education today doesn't serve the needs of today. We serve the needs of the 1960s and the 1970s. You live in Detroit. Yeah. Man, Detroit used to be the car capital of the world. What is it now? How many car companies are still there making cars? Anybody?
Big three. They're still here. It's still kind of the car capital of the world. But, I mean, you had to diversify manufacturing, other things, certain things. I mean, it's just not the main hub. That kind of got dwindled away with imports coming in. I mean, I think they manufacture probably as many cars in Kentucky now, with Toyota being there and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, we're not really anything. You can't really call us the car capital of the world. Flint doesn't even produce cars anymore.
Like I said before, dude, I just wonder how much of the alt left and alt right are about not caring about your neighbors. Just start with your neighbors. Don't worry about, John and Sally in California when you live in Texas. Worry about, Steve and Sarah that live right next door to you. Especially right now when it's cold. Hey, is your heat on? Check in on your neighbor. Do you have water? See if they have any. If everyone would just care about their neighbor, I think we would have just a better America to live in. I don't even want to say a better world, which, we could, but like we've said, these problems may not be unique to America, but they are worse in America. And everybody talks about, Trump, when he was president, making America great again. Well, America was great when you gave a shit about someone, even if they were different than you.
I do. I do.
Some of my best friends live in Kentucky. They were diehard Trump supporters. They were sad, devastated when they lost and stuff like that. I love those guys to death. We don't agree on basically anything except the video games we play, and sometimes we don't even agree on that. But they are damn good men and would help me if I needed help in anything. And that's what we need again.
Yeah.
You don't have to like someone to respect someone, and you don't have to like them to help them when they're in need.
Well said.
Give it a shot.
And I couldn't have said it better myself, man.
Make sure your neighbor's okay.
Give them a shot.
Yeah, that was good.
And with that, I think we are going to draw this episode of CTS to a close. I want to thank all of you for listening. We rely on your word of mouth to grow, so if you like what you hear, please share it. Drop us some love by giving some stars, likes, high fives, hashtags, or whatever the kids are using these days. And be sure to subscribe on your favorite platform. Just search for The Chris Truby Show. For Fierro and Gopher Mike, so long, everybody.
I need to